Welcome to Thinking Women,
the intelligent conversation show.
And we are thrilled to be here today from the Royal Cornwall Museum in Truro, where we are filming a very special show.
That's right. So today we're focusing on women in space and also STEM as careers and why it's so important. And we've got some great guests with us. So Dr. Heidi Tiemann, who is Project Manager for Cornwall Space and Aerospace Technology Training at Truro and Penwith College. So an amazing lady with an amazing job title as well.
Amazing lady. And I'm talking to Eliza Thorpe, who's head of Spaceport, so we're going to be covering everything that's happening in space right now. Very exciting.
It is, and a big thank you to Spaceport Cornwall for sponsoring today's show.
And we've also got a singer, the lovely Eliza Shaddad, because you know how much we love music on Thinking Women, so she's going to be doing some songs for us and talking about her music. It's an amazing show.
Absolutely. And we've also got Darcy and Charlotte, our budding STEM scientists for the future, who will be joining me and Heidi. So, should we go get on with it?
Yeah, come on.
So we're delighted to have with us Dr. Heidi Tiemann, who's the Project Manager for Cornwall Space and Aerospace Technological Training at Truro and Penwith College. That's quite a job title, Heidi. And you're also founder of the Space Skills Alliance. So welcome to Thinking Women. It's great to have you on the show. And we've also got Darcy and Charlotte, who are our young space and science ambassadors who are joining us today. So Heidi, tell me, why is science, technology, engineering and maths so important?
Well, science, technology, engineering and maths, or STEM, is incredibly important because really it helps us solve all the problems in the world that we have and helps us understand the world better. So this means that, for example, with the pandemic, we can find solutions to viruses, we can build vaccines, we can help kind of build medical kit that's more efficient. And with space, we can actually monitor the world and we can monitor the health of the environment and monitor how well we're tackling climate change, for example. So actually, science, technology, engineering and maths are really key for solving all of the problems in the world
today. It just underlies everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? And why the push on getting girls involved? Because, I mean, I did maths at uni, so
Yeah.
I don't feel that there's been a lack of sort of girls involved in STEM subjects. But is that the case? And what are we doing to encourage that and change that?
Yeah, so in subjects like biology and chemistry, it's kind of fairly even in terms of the number of girls that are in the number of girls and boys that are in the subjects, but in subjects like physics, maths, engineering, actually we see very few girls, and it's all about giving people the opportunities and making sure that they're not cut out of an industry they might love at a really young age, because actually a lot of girls get told at school that they shouldn't do physics because it's not very ladylike.
Oh gosh.
Which
Hopefully.
is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
So it is about
days
well, mostly, but hopefully you don't ever experience it. But it is actually about having the opportunities to do something that you love.
And tell me about your journey. So I know as well that you were an astronomer at the Open University.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this field?
I've always been absolutely mad about space. So when I was probably a bit younger than you, actually, I watched the '99 eclipse, and I watched it from Cornwall. And I remember kind of looking up with my eclipse glasses on and being absolutely astounded. I watched the Beagle lander, which was a mission to Mars, which didn't go quite so well. I watched astronaut selection in 2008, and I think I just knew it was something that I really wanted to work in. So I ended up studying physics, studying maths, studying astronomy, and ended up kind of going all the way through university to PhD and working as an astronomer.
Amazing. It's such an inspiring story. So, Darcy, what is your favourite subject out of the science, technology, engineering and maths? Which do you like the best?
Definitely maths.
And what do you like about the maths?
There's always a new challenge and there's never any boundaries of where you can go with it.
That's right, isn't it? It's amazing. I absolutely adore maths. And what would you like to be when you're older? Have you got your eye on a STEM career?
Yes, a forensic detective.
Fabulous. Well, I wish you well with that, and I'm sure you'll do very, very well at that. So, Charlotte,
Thank you.
over to you. And what's your favourite? So, science, engineering, technology, or math?
Well, I love science and maths. I think it's probably going to have to be both. Like Darcy, there's lots of challenges in them and there's so much we haven't found out yet. We're only on the surface of it, and I feel like you're never going to get to the bottom of it. There's always going to be something more that you can learn.
Wow, that's so inspiring to hear that from you as well. It's so true. And any ideas for your career?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on a career, but I'm thinking, because I love horses so much, something to do with horses. So maybe studying aerodynamics when they jump, or in medicine or in veterinary, but I could go anywhere and I'm not really sure where I'll land.
And that just shows, doesn't it, that even though you want to work in the equine profession and do horses, there's all this maths and science that underlies it. I didn't know there was a job in the aerodynamics of show jumping. That's fantastic. Who knew it? Anyway, so back to you, Heidi, just as we finish off. What advice would you give to Charlotte and Darcy and any other young ladies out there who want to get involved in STEM careers?
So I think the advice I would give is, one, it sounds a bit cheesy, but don't give up. Even if there are times where it feels really hard or doing that exam feels kind of over the top, it's worth doing. And also finding a mentor. So I think particularly for young girls and for women, it's quite important to have someone that can kind of guide you or you can trust to ask questions to. So having someone who's maybe a few steps above you. So maybe for you it might be someone who's done their GCSEs or their A-levels and going, what have you done? How can I kind of do what you did? And that's really powerful, because then you kind of build up this network of amazing women in science that you can trust and work with and learn from. So hopefully that helps.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Heidi, Darcy and Charlotte. That's been so inspiring.
Thank you very much.
So now I have the absolute pleasure to be joined by Melissa Thorpe, Head of Spaceport Cornwall. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for hosting this whole show.
Yeah, no, it's such a pleasure, and nice that we could get you to see some of the kit that we have that we will be launching next year with the big satellite up above us there. So yeah, it's great.
So this is what it's all about, really. It's about next year. Let's talk about that. What's actually happening next year? What's the big excitement?
So the big excitement is what we've been working for about 8 years, which is that launch. So it's the first time ever we'll launch from UK soil to space.
Wow. And so why, just in layman's terms, tell us why that's important. So people who don't know anything about satellites and technology and space, what does it mean to us?
Yeah, so it's really important because humans are really hungry for satellite technology. It actually underpins all of modern life, pretty much, from the food we eat to our healthcare to emergency services, and even getting money out of the ATM is all linked now to space and to satellites. So it's really important that we can increase their access to space. But for us in Cornwall, it's really important that we're getting those products to space in a much more sustainable way than ever before.
So where does Cornwall sit on the map in all of this? Space race? Is it a space race? Where do we sit with that?
Yeah, so people think there's a space race in the UK between the different spaceports, but really for us it's about securing launch in the UK so that our competitors in Europe, the other spaceports in Europe, don't catch up to us. We've got a window of a couple of years to really secure it here in Cornwall. And like Heidi was saying earlier, it's really about building the whole cluster around it and the skills and all the other businesses that we're going to need to support the spaceport as well. So we'll become this kind of epicenter of space and satellite technology here in Cornwall, which is amazing.
Which is incredible. And also as a hub for employment as well. It's incredible that Cornwall, honestly, I don't think people put Cornwall on that kind of technology map, do they?
No.
Normally.
Yeah.
When people think of Cornwall as an industry, we think tourism, what have you. But really, what you're doing here is creating a whole future for employment, and especially, let's talk about the girls coming into the science, because that's what we're talking about as well. What's your feeling about all of that? How important is that to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, the job creation piece is so important to us in Cornwall, especially after a pandemic, to create jobs in a really highly skilled, well-paid industry like space that has longevity is really important. And this whole exhibit here is about steam to satellites, so building on that pioneering history, that engineering history that is in Cornwall, and these incredible assets that we already have, so the airport and Goonhilly, for instance, that we're just enhancing to create and bring them into the future. So that's really important. But yes, yes, we need more people in STEM careers, and we need more girls into STEM careers, because it just brings a different element, a different way of thinking into the industry, and that's what we need to really modernize not just the space industry, but most sectors now, is that we just need these different kinds of brains to come in, and girls have that. We do things very differently, and I think for me, having daughters, it's a huge passion of mine that they can go on and do things that maybe even when I was little, I would have never even imagined would be a job for a girl. So like an engineer, for instance. And it's breaking down the stereotypes, and it's showing them, you can still be, whether you're feminine or not, you can still have a job in engineering. Like, it's an amazing career, and you're doing cool stuff like sending things to space. And I think the media now showing that, getting more girls on TV to show that they're doing these wicked jobs is so important to have these role models.
Exactly, and you are the role model too, Melissa. That's why we love having you on the show, and we love being part of what you've got going on, because you are the people like yourself, or the ladies like yourself, are the benchmark for all of the young girls. They can see you, they can be you.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, besides my mom and my grandmother, I didn't really have female role models coming into my school and telling me, wow, their jobs, things that they did. And so I think, for me, it's a personal passion to go out and get out there as much as I possibly can, tell them about my background. I came from a really rural part of Canada, so similarities to Cornwall. And at the time, I didn't think there was much options. I thought I'd have to leave, and I did. But, now we're creating an opportunity in Cornwall. So if they want to go away and study abroad, but they can come back and have an amazing lifestyle that Cornwall provides, but a really well-paid job as well. So for me, it's just telling that story and just expressing that you don't have to be an astrophysicist anymore and an astronaut. There's so many different jobs that they can do, even creatively as well.
Amazing. So what excites you, as a final question, what excites you about the future in the new space age?
I'm excited for us to use space to actually help save this planet. That's what I think is the most important use of space. I'm all up for humans exploring, because that's just what we do. So I really get and I understand why people are going to space, and I think I really value that. But at the same time, I'm most interested in how we can really use space to help save this planet and to solve some of the biggest challenges that we're having on Earth, whether that's poverty or climate change. Space does really hold the key to that. So I think that's where the future I see going, is actually, rather than looking outwards, we're actually using outwards to help inwards.
Incredible. Melissa, thank you again so much. So I just want to welcome Eliza Shaddad to Thinking Women, whose new album, The Woman You Want, is out now, which has been described as nakedly confessional. Eliza, please elucidate.
I guess I write a lot of songs from personal experience, always, and they are very honest. And I guess the whole album is about the last couple of years and all the changes that I was going through and kind of growing up, I guess, and getting married and starting a new life and being an independent musician and all the working really independently suddenly for the first time, and what all of that helped me see about myself, I guess, and then giving it in brutal honesty.
That brutal honesty, though, is what really your lyrics, what marks. I mean, beautiful voice and the music, but that. Let's just dig into the lyrical side of things. Yeah. So it can't be easy to dig deep into yourself. What gives you the confidence, maybe, or the bravery to do that?
I think I basically don't feel like I've written a good song unless it really resonates with me. Often I am crying while I write, and that is sort of an indicator that I'm touching a nerve, and therefore it's worth pursuing because it genuinely means something to me, and therefore it might mean something to other people. Yeah, I think music has always been sort of cathartic for me, like performing it on stage and sharing that experience with people and having a connection with other people who've gone through the same thing or identify with it in some way. I don't think you get that unless you're really honest, basically. So that's always what I'm going for.
And so the tour's coming up. So what can we expect from you in that tour? Is it going to be that connection? That's what we're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be multiplied a million times, having not really gotten to see anyone in so long. It's a full band tour. We're doing 10 dates up and down the country, and yeah, I think it's going to be this album has quite a lot of different soundscapes and textures on it, so we're sort of using instruments a little bit differently, and I think it's a development from our previous tours. And yeah, I'm almost speechless with excitement.
And coming on the back of COVID when we couldn't connect, because that's what you're all about, isn't it? Connecting.
Yeah.
So to be in a room with people.
Yeah, that's why I am a musician. So
why you do what you do.
Exactly.
But you've lived in 7 different countries, so inspiration-wise, culturally, that must have had a huge impact on your songs.
Yeah, I think so. I think it introduced me to a lot of different language and scales, I guess, that I'm really interested in bringing into the music. I think the older I get and the more comfortable I get with myself, I'm more willing to like look outside to all these influences that I've had and sort of weave them into the music in a way that helps the storytelling. So my father's Sudanese, for example, and I brought lots of Sudanese elements into this album, sort of traditional calls and music, instruments, and yeah, I mean, it was an incredible way to grow up.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned your father. Now this show is all about space, and handily, your dad is an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
So linking it all beautifully into space. But were you ever tempted to do something
like that? I actually studied philosophy, and I think that was sort of a halfway house for me between medicine, astronomy, physics and music. I couldn't quite figure out which one I wanted to do, so I did that. And I did some physics, I really like it, but I think that music's always where my heart's lain, so not seriously.
But does anything, the world that he's involved in, is that as a subject, is that interesting to you musically?
Yeah, definitely. I think the sort of idea of the universe and how small we are within it is quite comforting, personally. And he does quite a lot of environmental work, like he's over here at the minute for COP up in Glasgow. And I think I'm really interested in focusing. I'd love to find a way to turn these very personal, honest songs into something that can incorporate things like what's happening to the world and ideas about how to help people who are suffering. And yeah, I think that he definitely looks outside himself a lot more, and I think that as I grow as an artist, I'd really like to do that with my songs.
Take inspiration from that,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now we're all about female empowerment on Thinking Women, and so I want you to tell me about Girls, Girls, Girls.
Happily. Girls, Girls, Girls is a collective of women. Me and a friend of mine, Samantha Lindo, co-founded it 10 years ago this year in London. She'd just gone to Glastonbury and watched Beyoncé play with her all-female band, and she was absolutely buzzing. And we had both been playing some pretty poor gigs in London where they just chuck us on a lineup, all male lineups, always, and like a metal band, and then a punk band, and then little solo singer-songwriter. And then we were just a bit sick of it, and it didn't feel like you had any space in which to sort of find some safety and like experiment. It was all about how many people you could bring in, and a very sort of quite a laddie culture, I guess. So we set up these events that were to showcase female-led projects, and we worked with musicians, artists, comedians, dancers, all sorts, and we've been running them for 10 years. We've toured the UK with it. We just had our 10-year anniversary show in Bristol, and just about making a network of women in the arts who can collaborate, who can talk to each other and really lift each other up. And we also raised funds and awareness for a charity called Orchid Project, who work to stop female genital mutilation across the world. That's been a really amazing sort of collaboration for us. And in the future, we hope to connect, sort of move into like science and tech and how that moves into music, and try and set up connections on a larger scale still.
Amazing, just integrate everything, because that's the great thing.
Yeah.
Really these days with young people, with young women, we can connect, you can connect, you can work to connect it all together, and that is more empowering.
Yeah, it would be such a great support network, and like just better for everybody basically.
Now you're going to do 2 songs for us today. Yeah. Very briefly, could you just tell us the name of each song and just a little bit about the story behind each one.
Sure thing. The first song I'm going to play for you is called Fine and Peachy, and this is a song about being quite frustrated with how the world works, especially in music, I would say, being independent, being a woman, and just being a human, and getting a bit sick of battling uphill with no end in sight, I would say. Yeah, so that's Fine and Peachy.
The struggle.
Yeah, a struggle, and just sort of boiling over, I guess. And the next song I'm going to play for you is called Heaven, and that is a song about holding on through it all. There's a theme. I guess they were written during lockdown, so there is a theme of like, it's going to be okay. Yeah, Heaven is very much, it's about my mother was going through some stuff, my friends were all going through different things, and I really wanted to tell everyone, like, I can't really explain any sort of larger reason for why you should hold on, but I just think it's worth it, and please, please, please hold on.
Oh, it's a very beautiful song.
Yeah, thank
Eliza,
you.
thank you so much for coming on Thinking Women today.
Thanks for having
me. I wish
me.
you great luck
and
success with the tour.
Thank
and the
you.
album, which is out now.
Thank you.
On all platforms.
On all platforms, yeah. And we have our Cornwall show. Can I mention that?
Yes, please do.
We're playing at the Old Bakery Studios on the 26th, Friday the 26th of November, and there are some tickets left, and we would love to see people come down to the show. It's the last night of tour. It's going to be a big blowout.
But you're all over the UK, because this show does go out over the UK.
Of course.
So wherever you are, check out your website to find out where to go.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant, Eliza. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Pretending everything is just fine, peachy.
So what an amazing show, Lou.
Absolutely, another banger, I would say.
And our first outside broadcast, which has been so good. So thank you to all our guests.
Yeah, thank you to Heidi, to Eliza, and to Melissa, of course, and
Darcy and Charlotte.
and Spaceport Cornwall for sponsoring the show. We are so pleased to have them involved.
And if anyone would like to get involved in Thinking Women, then do get in contact. We're always looking for inspiring guests and sponsors for the show as well. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Have you ever